Welcome to Project XTalk Extra, where we go over news that didn't quite make the main show, especially this week with us doing the Game Awards live stream reaction. I'm Kevin, aka the Muffin Man, and today I'm joined just by the one I usually do this show with, to be honest, the most consistent member of my team, Tom. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Sorry I didn't show up last week, but we're gonna truck along and get through some content.
Well, sometimes life happens, and we got to take breaks. Me and Aman held it down. But guys, if you haven't for some reason checked out our live reaction, either stream or audio, go check that out. And while you're over there on our YouTube or any audio service, make sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, whatever it's called on that platform. Go leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. If you give us a 5-star review, we will read it live on next week's show. But here on Project XTalk Extra, we're going to talk about some news that, just kind of, it's not new. It broke after our podcast last week with Aman. We didn't have time to talk about it with the Game Awards going on, but it is an important topic. So late last Friday, Bloomberg and Jason Schreier, who breaks all the gaming news, published an article outlining PlayStation's Game Pass competitor. The subscription service, which is apparently codenamed Spartacus, is said to be a tiered service that will give PlayStation users access to classic and modern games. Rumored to be launching in the spring, the service would combine PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus, while seemingly keeping the PlayStation Plus branding and eliminating the PlayStation Now branding. According to Bloomberg, the details are not finalized yet, but the rumored tiers break down as followed. Tier 1 would be PlayStation Plus as we currently know it today, so your 3 free games a month, your online cloud saves, nothing's changing there, probably no price increase. Tier 2, PlayStation Plus benefits, plus a catalog of PS4 and eventually PS5 games. Tier 3, you get all that, plus extended game demos, game streaming, and a library of classic PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation Portable or PSP games. It's said that Sony does not currently have plans to offer first-party titles day and date into the service. So, Tom, that's all we know about PlayStation's Game Pass competitor. Obviously, we're mainly an Xbox channel, but this directly relates to Xbox's main offering, which is Game Pass. So I want to know your first thoughts about the service. What do you think about what PlayStation's outlining here?
I think it's pretty good that they're going with a tiered service that still benefits just the base PS Plus users and gives them a little taste of what they could get if they upgrade to the higher tiers. But in terms of the third tier, yeah, that one seems like the best one. You get the backwards compatibility pretty much of like PS3, PSP, PS Vita games, PS2 games, which honestly is like the much bigger library that you want to delve into, especially if you're a newer PlayStation guy like you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The biggest downside from what you said is it said it was streaming, right? And you were going to stream that stuff.
It will offer streaming. There's no details about how it will, if PlayStation 3 is currently on PS Now streaming, but it does not specify whether like the PS1, PS2, PSP games will have to be streamed.
Yeah. So at the very least, I'm certain the PS3 games will still need to be streamed. Hopefully they can just offer the PS4 games natively. The PS2 games, it should not be hard to emulate, especially on a PS5 console. Same with PS1. I understand PS3 was much a bigger difference in terms of artifacts that they use for like the cell processor.
Yeah.
So emulating that will still probably be a little pain in the ass to get it perfectly, which is unfortunate because the PS3 back catalog is the best one that I've played in terms of PlayStation as a whole.
Interesting.
So that's really the one that you want to play the most. I mean, they had some amazing games back then, like Killzone 2, Killzone 3, the original Infamous games. I think you played the original one, right? Or you just played Second Sons?
No, I played Second Son and First Light.
Okay. So definitely you would want to try the original, like Infamous 1, Infamous 2 with Comograph, easily one of the top tier games on there. So well, I'm excited that they're, upping the ante in terms of like what they push out. That just makes, when Microsoft push a little bit harder, if they turn out to be any sort of comparable competitor.
Yeah, so I've gone back and forth. When I first read this, I was like, this sounds like a great offering. Finally PlayStation is doing something that will add value, because PlayStation Plus honestly doesn't really have much value in my opinion. Seeing as most of the games I play over there are single player in nature. So the only value from PlayStation Plus I'm kind of getting, and I had bought like 2 years of it, so I'm good for a while, is the 3 games a month. But the 3 games a month are really lacking in quality. A lot of these months I've noticed we're getting some pretty mediocre games, like a Godfall Challenger Edition is this month's game. No one wants that. So I think, and then again, I've been using, if you're new to the podcast, I've been using PlayStation Now. I have one more month of my 3 month subscription. And honestly, I haven't been that impressed at the current catalog. And I think that's really where my hang up with this is. Because when you break this down, all this essentially is a rebrand. You're rebranding PlayStation Now and you're just going to call it PlayStation Plus, because PlayStation Now has a negative connotation with it and PlayStation Plus has a very positive connotation. PlayStation Plus is the most subscribed to service. It has more than Xbox Live, has more than Game Pass. So PlayStation Plus is looked at positively. PlayStation Now isn't. They're going to get rid of PlayStation Now, but then they're just going to take everything from PlayStation Now, give it to the people that subscribe at these higher tiers. My issue comes with right now on PlayStation Now. You can download PS4 games. There's 16 PS2 games, and then you stream the PlayStation 3 games. They're walling off things behind tiers. So tier 2 says you get PS4 and eventually PS5 games. Okay, but then you're locking away the PS3 games to the tier 3. So then then you'd have to subscribe at the highest tier to get to get the PS3 games. Then they're adding PS1, PS2, PSP, which I think, don't get me wrong, great value there. I think if they add all those, that's a huge value, especially like you said, for me who hasn't had a PlayStation. Maybe I can go back and play some games that I've been looking, I missed out on. That would be great. I want to see the price point for that, because I think this could go poorly for them, depending on how much they charge for this.
What are you thinking? It's gonna be like outrageous Nintendo Switch Online prices
I
that we saw with their increase.
excuse me. I don't know. That is one issue I have, because it could. I don't think they can go higher than Game Pass. For this service to be successful, this cannot be more expensive than Game Pass Ultimate. It just simply can't. Because if they say, okay, our tier 3 is going to cost $20. Okay, you're charging me for backwards compatibility, which Xbox doesn't do. They might all have to be streamed, which Xbox doesn't do. And depending on the catalog, it might not be worth it. Because if you give me the PS Now catalog as it stands today, and it's like, we're gonna give you all this and then just add in some more classic games, that's not worth it. Because the catalog right now as it exists is bad. It's a lot of shovelware. There are a few hidden gems. You have the old Ratchet and Clank games, the Sly Cooper games, the infamous games like you mentioned. You have The Last of Us 2 on there for like 2 more months. You have God of War, Bloodborne. So there are a few gems on there. By and large, though, it's a lot of shovelware. It's not games that you're actively going to want to play or even check out. So,
Yeah, but I can go
yeah.
into their defense a little bit then. It's like a lot of
Okay.
Game Pass has a lot of the same stuff though in terms of shovelware. You have to
Not,
kind of dig through you have to. We'll talk about it on the podcast because I played some weird stuff this week, and I'll talk about it later. But Game Pass has some really weird stuff on there that's
mhm.
I would consider shovelware.
Yeah. Okay. So PlayStation Now, I don't know if you're aware, has over 800 games. I think it's double the size of Game Pass. So it actually has more games available. So when you have more games available, the quantity, like it has more, but the quality is so much less, in my opinion. What I would love them to do is take the PS Plus collection, and I said this in XTalk Extra last week. Take the PS Plus collection and build on that, because the PS Plus collection is a phenomenal deal. Like that's got God of War, it's got all the big hits from the PS4 era. Rotate those games out, maybe add more, expand it a little bit. Like If you offered 100 games, but those 100 games were of high quality every month, I would probably pay extra. And then you'd have to throw in some backwards compatibility stuff. I really don't like the fact that they're walling off backwards compatibility behind a paywall.
Well, I also would like if they added some exclusives, like give me a reason to subscribe. Not necessarily, not every. I'm not telling Sony to release every single game that you guys do first party on, this new PS Now service that you guys are going to rebrand as. But they can make some select titles that they release maybe like 2 or 3 times a year. They don't have to be like the higher like AAA games, but something that's Sony that you can only get on Sony's platform
Hmm.
and push that. So it gives you a reason and it gives you a little reason, more reason to actually subscribe.
Hmm. For sure. So you mentioned first party titles, and as I said, right now it doesn't look like first party titles are going to launch into the service. My thing there is if they're not going to launch first parties into the service, which I don't think they're going to, straight up, I do not think that first parties will come to this at any point. Like I can't see even a year or two, they're not going to be launching into the service. I just don't think Sony can afford to do that. The amount their games cost to make and the amount they sell. I
No, they'll
unless
they'll they'll
yeah,
they'll end up there like with natural progression, maybe like a year or two down the line, but definitely no launch date kind of deals. No, for sure.
yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly. Like I said, God of War, Bloodborne, those older titles are in PS Now right now. So I don't think that we see them launch ever, perhaps, unless the subscription service proves to be a big hit and they have like 100, 200 million subs, and then maybe they can afford to put their first party in there. But I wanted to ask, Game Pass, one of the big draws is the first party, but also we've seen this year a commitment to adding those big third party titles. We've had games like Outriders launch into it. We got Scarlet Nexus a few months after launch. We've had MLB The Show come in day and date. So they're getting those third party games launching
Yeah.
into the service.
Hmm.
That's as far as I could find, there has never been a game launched directly into PlayStation Now. If Sony is to compete with Game Pass, this has to change. They have to shell out some money and get third party titles launching into the service.
I agree. They'll need the big third parties, and the issue is if those third parties are shelling out, like, do you guys want me on your service or do you want me on Game Pass? I mean, Microsoft is going to outbid them pretty much every time, though. If that's the
Mhm.
case, they have that bigger change. They have what trillions compared to what
Yeah.
Sony's like what 100 billion plus net worth. So it's not even comparable.
Yeah. Yeah. One last thing I want to touch on, and this goes to the PC aspect of Game Pass. Microsoft, and I brought this up when I was on Seasoned Gaming's Bitcast this week. We've seen Microsoft and Xbox commit to PC for the last generation now, and Game Pass is on PC. You can stream your games to the PC. You can stream PS Now to your PC, but there is no native downloading of PlayStation games outside of Steam, which has a few of them and more are coming, obviously. But do we think that PlayStation Plus, this new service, this new subscription, PlayStation Game Pass, is going to create some sort of launcher and let you natively download PC games that they port over? Because we know they acquired Nixus, so they do have a PC port studio. Do we think that this is part of their effort to commit to PC?
No, because I think they would need a whole lot more than just simply porting over X games. They would need to also be able to support, like Microsoft does, bringing back those older titles natively as well. So
Mhm.
unless they can pull off getting those third party as well, like third party games on PC, the PS2 games on PC, PS1 games on PC, like natively through their launcher, then I don't think it would be even worth talking about, or it wouldn't even be in the conversation of, well, you can play God of War on PC, you can play Horizon Zero Dawn on PC. That's two games. I mean,
Mhm.
they just need a much bigger back catalog before that to even be remotely feasible or cost effective for them.
Yeah, I'm just worried when it says game streaming. I think there's a lot of good stuff here. Don't get me wrong. Like extended game demos, that's great. Like we've seen Xbox kind of commit. Like on Game Pass, you can stream games before you download them now. Extended game demos, try out the game before you buy it or whatever. I think that's a great idea. I think the backwards compatibility, adding them is great. I don't like I have to pay more for it, but I'm really concerned that a lot of the classics are going to be streamed because I played all the Sly Cooper games in streaming. It was a fine experience. Was it good? It's not my preferred way to play games. So like if you're telling me I'm going to have to stream all those, that immediately gives me some disinterest. Even if those, because like we're talking about PC, I think streaming, if you have the entire backwards compatibility catalog able to stream on PC, then I don't know if they would bother porting all of them over. Like they're not going to build that catalog on PC because they're just going to be like, well, you have our catalog, you just have to stream it, right?
Yeah.
So that's I got one question. I got one final question for you. Based on this information, do you think that this could be a competitor to Game Pass? And do you think that this would surpass Game Pass?
No, I don't think it's remotely a competitor. I would say Google Stadia is a much better offering than
Ooh.
whatever's
Ooh.
Sony's currently in their pipeline. It just, if you're gonna have most of your stuff streaming already, just get Stadia. They have a bigger back catalog and a bunch of Ubisoft games.
I
Prove me wrong though,
I
Sony.
mean, I can't. I haven't tried Google Stadia. For me, I think that it comes down to the price point. Like if they launch $15 for tier 3, I think that is fine. Would I like it to be cheaper? Yes. If they like $10, that would be a great deal. I would subscribe in a heartbeat, and that would probably be my main subscription for PlayStation. If it's above $15, I can't see myself going above the tier 1, maybe tier 2, just to get the PS5 games and PS4 games. If it's $20 or more for tier 3 and all those classic games, this thing is dead in the water. There's going to be a few people that defend it, but most people do not want to go back and play old games. That's not what they have a PlayStation 5 for or a PlayStation 4 for.
I agree.
So for me right now, don't think this quite competes. There's still more information. It's supposed to be launching in the spring. So I imagine we'll hear more soon. But Tom, I want to thank you for joining me today. Could you let people know where to find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Alpaca Tom. I might respond to you if you send me a tweet. I might not.
And you can find me at the Muffin Mon. That's a 1 instead of an I and an O instead of an A. Can't speak today. Also follow us at Project XTalk to stay up to date with all our latest videos. Like, share, subscribe, drop us reviews, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.